Sometimes it's not the animal, but the shape that the animal leaves behind. And in the same way, I wanted to examine the shape that Davenport left behind. This is an author whose stories beat you up pretty bad when you're in them, but I found that they didn't leave a lasting impression. Something similar that happened to this other author here, whose work I tried to examine in another video to try to figure out why. Davenport grew up in Appalachia and as a child was largely considered special needs, and his family left him alone to his own curiosity, which really took off and carried him all the way to Europe, where he studied under people like Tolkien and most notably Ezra Pound, with whom he had a lifelong devotion to. Davenport writing his thesis on Pound and Joyce and really hashing out modernism. But he didn't really think of himself as an academic or a writer, though he was mostly known for his critical essays and lectures before even really trying his hand at fiction, which this first collection here, which I recommend as a good starting point, it came out in his 40s in 1974, and but it wasn't really like stories per se, which he didn't think of them as. It's more like assemblages. Stylistically, he writes very functionally and not overly adorned, because he's got so many little tidbits and crayons of knowledge at his fingertips across different fields and across time, to where for him time doesn't seem to exist. It's like a flat plane that he can take in all at once, and then you start to see the similarities across the centuries if you wanted to. I'd say whatever imagination he possesses is really based on the known world of art and culture, in which he had developed this arsenal of knowledge which he could deploy at will. It's like when you're walking down the street and you see this girl, and like something about the way her ponytail is swinging, you can see all the others that you've been with in the past, all the way to where it becomes this common woman or goddess figure that you've been searching for. But he does very much stay hidden. I think he's allergic to this idea of expressiveness and confession in writing, and kind of slams people who praise such writers. Early Robert Lowell, though, shit. But you start to get a sense of him as a shadow person, but what he confronts us with is maybe like the ornamental shield that is his defense working as offense. So you don't get a direct read on any weaknesses, like with some books you grapple with and doubt, and you want to find the Achilles with your fang, but he's over here hitting you with these geological layers compressed into prisms that go so far into crushing you that it kind of becomes ridiculous. And all you can really say is like, yeah, this is like reading lyrical essays or poetry. And then you kind of slide off and slither away out of shame. Then you start to wonder about these other hybrid animals who are more like archaeologists than writers. You want to slice up like sushi, get that like umami. Meanwhile, in the Black Mountains, there was this creature going around putting a whole new kind of hurt on American poetry. But what people don't really talk about is the man behind the man, who for so long had mentored him, but then was cast aside out of confusion. Let's not also forget this dude here. Writers themselves in need of co-creators who can get up in there and unpack all this shit, who, like Davenport, was the only one able to get deep enough inside of Olson to do so. But what can you do though when you're just lost in the labyrinth of literature and you can barely make your own voice heard? One way to go about it is to do what the artist that Davenport admired the most did, is just kind of pump your head full of air to lift yourself up out and just see the world as it is without much context. And then we could leave the known world with all its Joyces and Pounds and Eliots that we're so sick of.
Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens, Art, extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be.
Because now you are confused. And now even a little frightened. Yes, frightened. But don't bother looking at your machine hanging from your belt. And don't waste your time pushing buttons, trying not to find.
The shelves are so high. Gotta take a video and zoom in later to see the titles. You know, he made the mistake of writing something that resembled a story, and he got rewarded for it. And I think he won the O. Henry Award for this one, about these boys in France who go and discover a hidden cave, and along with a priest, uncover some secrets that actually work on a couple different levels. So I thought it'd be interesting to take this rare opportunity in his fiction and get up in that crack where he exposed himself, because you could tell something was being broadcast here. When I was younger, I had this obsession with nymphs, you know, like dryads and naiads and hamadryads and crinae. I just loved reading any book that had nymphs in them. And this one in particular, it's kind of like an orgy of an experience written by somebody who not much is really known about. This guy, he was very mysterious, was somehow able to turn out this work and then later just completely pivot and work on a paraphrase of the Gospel of John. It's like, what's even more messed up though is the suggestion that he wrote this after converting to Christianity, which kind of makes sense in a way, actually, because then religion being like a cage or constraint to get even more freaky. At a certain point, you kind of see what he'd been saying all along, that for him, it was the force that evolved the form, and beneath all the weaponized scholarship and knowledge, it was all along just ancient, simple desires that was driving him. Even now, he's out there somewhere riding the waves of light from past civilizations where the kind of desires that he had were not considered alien at all.
So why can't we do the same? Or will it always only be in imagination?
Dropping the niggas with the Glock gun. Nigga, you must have run. Look at the shotgun. Leaving above my blood stun. 187, let's sign.
Then one day a figure appears on the horizon. You're like, what the fuck? See this dude time travel to where he can get off without going to jail? Except you fucked up the calibration and went too far back. That's okay. Apes are sexy.
Oh.